Hey everybody, what's going on? Hellmite here, bringing you another video from Grab the Lantern today. It's Tuesday and the patch notes for patch 8.2 have just been posted, and that means it's time for another patch note rundown. As always, I'll be going through the biggest changes in this week's patch and letting you guys know what you can be looking forward to in the coming weeks. 8.2 is a fairly substantial patch. We have actually a lot of large changes to go through, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and talk through it right now. First up, champions. Evelynn is getting nerfed in this patch. Her burst damage is just too damn high at the moment, so she is being nerfed. Her E's unempowered and empowered damage were both reduced, the scaling and the base damage, so Evelynn should be feeling significantly less upfront burst with the E proccing her W. Ezreal is being nerfed in this patch as well. He is way too consistent in the bottom lane with Kleptomancy because he can get his power spike much earlier, and he gets to bully despite the fact that he's incredibly safe. Obviously, that's a problem, so his Q's base damage has been reduced at earlier levels, so he won't be quite as effective at bullying enemy champions. Jinx is being changed in this patch. Riot wanted to accentuate her wildcard nature by making her weaker early on, but giving her better tools to snowball with, so Jinx will be a little less safe in the early game, but as long as you can get her going, she'll be very, very scary to deal with. Her base AD is down, and her AD growth stat has been increased to compensate. Her passive attack speed no longer stacks, but she can exceed the attack speed cap while she's excited. Her Q's minigun's attack speed has been increased as well, but it no longer scales with champion level, so Jinx will want to be putting points in her Q in order to reach the same rate of attack speed. Kha'Zix is being nerfed in this patch. He has way too much non-isolated damage at the moment. He doesn't even need to isolate you in order to kill you, so that's being changed. His his passive AD ratio is down, and his Q's AD ratio is up. So now Kha'Zix will be significantly scarier if he can get you isolated, but not quite as scary if you have allies around. Malzahar is being nerfed in this patch as well. His burst combo is too strong, and so Riot wanted to weaken its frequency and its damage. His Q AP ratio has gone down, and his R cooldown has been increased at earlier levels, so Malzahar won't be able to burst you quite effectively early on, and he won't be doing as much damage with the Q spam. Nunu is being buffed in this patch with a couple of mechanics changes. He's still a bad champion, and these changes are intended to give him a little bit more skill expression and a little bit more power. His Q's well-fed bonus now grants him bonus magic damage on his basic attacks, and his W now increases AP by up to 120 on both himself and his target, which is pretty big, and this means that Nunu may be able to get even more damage off of those unseen ultimates from Brush. Ornn is being nerfed in this patch. He is too strong with his trades with W because you can't displace him to interrupt it, and his ult cooldown is very low and prevents the enemy team from ever drawing aggro. If you've been watching the LCS, you know Ornn is pretty much the de facto top laner. So he's being nerfed. He's no longer unstoppable during his W, and his R's cooldown has been increased at all ranks. It no longer goes down to 80 seconds, it's now up to 100 seconds at max rank. So Ornn will get less calls of the Forged God throughout the game, and it will be easier to trade into him as you can interrupt his W. Finally, for champions, Vayne is being nerfed as well. I know a lot of people have been asking for it. She's able to reach the late game so easily because of fleet footwork and the overheal build, and when she gets there, she's significantly too strong. Rather than nerf her early game and make her even weaker, Riot have elected to instead nerf her late game, given that she can reach it much more easily than before. Her attack speed growth has been reduced, so she'll get less free attack speed, and her R's bonus AD has been significantly decreased, so she won't be doing as much just raw damage through final hour. She'll still need items. Next up, talking about support item changes. I talked about this a little bit in a podcast earlier this week, but Riot have decided to go ahead and go through with it. So now, gold generation items and Sightstone have been merged together in order to give supports more autonomy in their build path. Sightstone, Ruby Sightstone, and Tier 3 gold generation items have been removed. Instead, completing a support item quest now grants the Sightstone active. The quest also only takes 500 gold to complete as opposed to 750, and only one ward chain charge is gained when you complete it. You'll need to recall for the rest of them. Additionally, Riot have changed it so Spell Thief recharge penalty applies when you kill a non-epic monster, and the Relic Shield proc healing is reduced by 50% if the owner is ranged. Now, these changes do a lot of things. They make Sightstone no longer an item, so you can afford to build more non-Sightstone items or non-gold generation items in a game. They also make completing your quest much more critical, as that gives you your Sightstone active. You cannot get it beforehand. This also means that these items are more exclusively towards supports. You won't have Nasus or junglers picking up these items as they can't really make any use of them. Spell Thief will no longer be a jungler item as it doesn't apply if you're killing monsters. And the Relic Shield proc healing has been reduced, which should take some power out of the overheal bottom lane. Next up, runes. More than a few runes are being changed in this patch. I'm just going to cover the keystones here, but there have been significant other changes to precision and domination runes as well. Aftershock has been shifted to be more about durability and less about damage, as right now it just lets tanks raw out-trade damaging characters. Its damage has been lowered, but it now grants flat resistances instead of percent resistances, so it's a little bit better in the early game for durability, and it's better on fighters now. The AD and AP ratios have also been increased on Aftershock, so now they can do more damage when they proc it. Grasp is a little too harshly penalizing ranged champions because some ranged champions like Urgot and Gnar, who still would get a lot of use out of the item or out of the keystone, don't use it because it's just so weak, so that's being buffed a little bit. The ranged healing and damage reduction is now 40% from 50%, so those champions should feel a little bit better about taking Grasp. Guardian is too strong at the moment and is just too there's too much invisible power with Guardian. Not many people even notice it or play around it, so it's being changed. Its CD has been increased dramatically. The base shield, however, has been increased early, and the AP and health ratios have been increased. So you'll get a bigger shield, but you need to be more proactive about when you're proccing it. Kleptomancy is being nerfed in this patch as well. It needed it. It's way too strong, so Riot have been changing it. The drop rate has significantly decreased in the first 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, it's slightly decreased for melee champions, but still significantly decreased for ranged champions, and items that you get from Kleptomancy sell for 20% of their total, 20% less, sorry. So Kleptomancy will be significantly weaker. It will still be good for gold generation, but you won't get as many free items from it. Finally, Glacial Augment is being buffed, as only Aurelion Sol was really able to use it. The melee and ranged slows have both been increased, as well as the active item slow, so hopefully it's a little more enticing to other champions. And finally, for the 8.2 patch notes, targeted spells now draw minion aggro. Yes, that means that if Pantheon uses Spear Shot, your minions will go after him. If Cassiopeia E-spams you, your minions will go after her. And this applies to most every targeted ability. The full patch notes have the full list, but for now, suffice it to say that you cannot just target ability spam someone down. Their minions will respawn, and they will do a lot of damage. And as sort of a side effect of this, Pantheon's shield now no longer blocks cannon minion auto attacks, or is consumed by it, which is both a bit of a buff and a bit of a nerf, as he'll take significantly more damage if trying to trade in the middle of a cannon minion wave, but he also won't lose his passive if he takes a random cannon on minion auto attack. So that's a bit of a minor change that came along with the targeted spells now drawing minion aggro, so be aware of that. Anyways, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Go ahead and let me know which changes you're most excited for down in the comment section below. I would love to hear it. If you enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a like. And if you really enjoyed the video, consider subscribing. I upload a video every Monday, Friday, and on patch days as well. And if you're looking for Grab the Lantern content, you can check out my blog, linked down in the description below. I upload an article just about each and every single day for your enjoyment. Once again, thank you guys so very much for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll talk to you all later.